Welcome to Fantasy Football Hub. Today I'm joined by FPLSalah to preview the big upcoming double game week 36. First of all, we're going to have a quick look back at game week 35 and see how it went for Abdul, but then we're going to get into some huge burning questions for the upcoming double. Abdul, my friend, how are you doing?
Yeah, not bad, Jack. Again, quite a poorish game week. I got 34 points, small red to like 93k to 100k, but yeah, it's frustrating because I had a nice kind of run of like 5 greens, got up to 70k, and then kind of dropped back over the last 2 weeks. But yeah, 3 big game weeks coming up ahead.
Indeed, it's a tough one. You got a bit of bad luck there. The Matoma assist that really should have been a goal, and that swing from McAllister. Yeah. Bruno again. I mean, he seems to be continuing to play really well and creating a lot of chances, but not doing the business. And Haaland captaincy blank. Crazy, right?
Yeah, I mean, Leeds at home. It just goes to show, like, you know, the kind of variance in this game sometimes. He was at like 74% to score at any time, according to the book.
Wow.
It's like one of the highest I've seen it this season. I think he was 73% against Southampton when they had them at home. But yeah, again, just goes to show. Again, it was one of those game weeks. And then ultimately it was like McAllister who made the difference in terms of like the green arrow.
There you go. Those are the fine margins. Anyway, let's get onto your team for the upcoming game week, because this is what people want to know about. There's a lot of decisions to get through. First of all, let's talk about the teams that are doubling and just your general thoughts. In your side right now, you have your 3 Brighton, but you don't have 3 Newcastle. Are you going to get 3 Newcastle? And if so, what are you thinking?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and the obvious one's going to be, like, for me, it's Watkins to either Isak or Wilson. Most likely going to be Isak.
Okay.
And again, you know, it's the early kickoff, so we might get early team news. So I will be waiting, you know, until we. I'm going to try and wait until, you know, Saturday morning to make my transfers. But the only kind of scenario I see me bringing in Wilson over Isak is if Isak is benched and we get early news that he's benched and Wilson starts. If they both start and we get early news, then I'll likely go Isak, because I think he's going to get more minutes over the double and probably over the season as well. And if we get early news that both of them start, I'll probably still go Isak. I just think he's the safer option in terms of starts and minutes. But it is tempting to go Wilson, Jack, because if he starts, he's going to be playing up top. Isak's going to be playing on the wing. He's going to be on penalties as well, I think, Wilson, and he's just got the much higher goal threat, when they play together or when he's on the pitch. So yeah, it's not an easy decision, but right now I'm leaning towards Isak.
It's a tough one, isn't it? Because, as you say, it's not just for these 2 games. However, I mean, we are now pretty much at the end of the season, and I'm going to get your thoughts on captaincy right now. Where are you leaning with that? Would you captain the Newcastle forward that you transfer in?
Yeah, very likely. I mean, whether I get Wilson or Isak, they'll be my captain. Trippier's not a bad shout, to be honest. He's the one he's guaranteed minutes. And Newcastle, if you look at the defense over the season, right, they've conceded the least goals, and they've got the second best XGC, right, behind Man City. But in the last 13 games, they've only kept 1 clean sheet. But even within that time, they've conceded the 4th least goals and got the 4th best XGC. So the defensive stats haven't been terrible. They just haven't been as good as they were in the first half of the season, and probably been unlucky not to keep a few more clean sheets. So yeah, I mean, Leeds at home, Leeds away, could be a potential clean sheet there. But yeah, I mean, with Trippier, he's got the attacking threat as well, so he's not a bad shout. But I would definitely go one of Isak or Wilson for captain if I get them in.
Okay, and you have the double Newcastle defence. If you could, would you switch Botman in your team out for the double Newcastle attack?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, if I was say I already had Isak and I had just the one, I had Isak and Trippier, and I can get Wilson in one move, then yeah, if I found out, again, early team news, if we found out that Wilson and Isak were starting, then I would get Wilson in. If we didn't get any news, then it would be a hard decision. But yeah, I mean, if it was an easy way for me to get there, I've looked at it for my team, and it's pretty much impossible. I mean, I'd have to take like a -8 to get up
Okay.
to a double. To get Wilson and Isak in my team with the way my kind of squad structure is. But yeah, I mean, I definitely see the merits in that, and I do think even kind of going forward for game week 37, Wilson, could start that game as well, and then game week 38, they got Chelsea away, so you can use your transfers to get rid of them. So yeah, I definitely think it's a viable strategy to get the two forwards.
It's just a tough one, isn't it? Like, at what point do you think it's worth chasing and going for Wilson over Isak? Like, what sort of stage do I have to be at with my team for that to be worth that punt? Obviously, you've said about the minutes risk of Wilson, but is there upside there to go for him?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the thing is, even if you knew who got reduced minutes, but we knew that he was going to start both games, right? Then I'd go Wilson. But it's just the fact that there's a high chance that he's not going to start one of the games, so could get anywhere between 10 to 30 minutes in one game. Probably get maybe 8 to 90 in the one game that he starts. So yeah, it's just the fact of but again, saying that, I mean, he might, it depends on game state as well. So we saw he came on against Southampton, for 45 minutes half time, when they were losing. So, and then he scored a brace. So he can definitely come off the bench and get points as well. And the upside is there because, as I said, he has got the much higher goal threat than Isak when he's on the pitch, and he's gonna be one of the penalties as well. But yeah, I just think when you're comparing them, the two, Isak is the safer bet. And I just don't think. I mean, at the moment, I don't think it's for me. It's worth going Wilson over Isak with the information we have. But again, that could change. When we get early team news and when we see that he starts or whatever. I mean, who knows? I mean, I wouldn't even rule out Isak being benched for that first game against Leeds. We don't know really. So, but I would assume he starts. But yeah, it's just all about for me. It's kind of a lot about the early team news. That'll kind of decipher what I'm going to do.
So just one last question then. You get the team news for the early kickoff. Wilson is starting. Isak is starting. That's the information you got. What are you doing?
Yeah, in that situation, I think I'll still go Isak.
Okay.
As I said, the only scenario I think I go Wilson is if Isak is benched and Wilson starts. But that's my thinking at the moment. I mean, again, I could be, when I get that early team news, I could be tempted just to go for it. There's only 3 game weeks left. I wouldn't kind of begrudge that move. I don't think it's a bad move going Wilson over Isak if I find out they're both starting. So yeah, it's one for Saturday morning, I think.
Okay, right then. That is one transfer done. Let's talk about Brighton players now, because you have Solly March on your bench on the My Team tour just by default, given his hamstring injury. What are you thinking there?
Yeah, it's really annoying because the kind of swinging points, from March to McAllister, since a wild card has been, quite significant, and now March is injured, so he's definitely has to go. I mean, I can't see him playing game week 26. It probably possible could be out for the season.
Yeah,
it's a hamstring injury, so you're talking probably 2 weeks. And it didn't look good, with the way he pulled up. So it's an easy move there to McAllister, really.
Okay.
I mean, the thing is, I think it's quite annoying because I think I'm kind of forced into that move because Brighton have got back-to-back double game weeks. There's if you've got March, the only move, the best move is either Matoma or McAllister, whichever one you've not got.
Yeah.
If they didn't have that, double game week in 37, and it's quite a good double game week in 37 as well, much better than one they've got in 36. I could have possibly looked elsewhere. But yeah, I just think I'm forcing that move. I think McAllister is by far the best option. And yeah, so that'll be my 2 transfers, Isak, Watkins to Isak and March to McAllister. Possibly could be, Watkins to Wilson as well, but most likely Isak and McAllister come in.
And is that for a hit or is that 2 frees?
No, that's 2 free transfers, yeah.
Okay.
So the original plan was just to go Watkins to Isak and then, go into game week 38 with 2 free transfers, because I was only going to use 1 in 37. Because I think having 2 free transfers in game week 38 is going to be, it's going to be important. Because there's probably going to be rotation depending on, what teams are fighting relegation. If City have won the league, things like that. If Liverpool are still in contention for the Champions League. So, but yeah, I don't think that's going to happen now because I've got to use my second free transfer on March.
Yeah, the reason I ask is because, as we see with a lot of teams this week, you're going to be benching some very good assets that you would never normally bench. Just wondering if it was worth the hit to go from someone like a March to a McAllister. But as you say, they have 4 games in 2 game weeks. So let's talk about your team then. Who are you even starting? Because I've got your team up on screen. McAllister currently on the bench. Obviously he's not going to stay there, but there are about 4 players that are kind of vying for 2 spots, it looks like.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of bench points. At the moment, I've got Ederson in goal. I think that's a close call as well. Even looking at the clean sheet odds, City are at 42%. 52% to keep a clean sheet. Chelsea are 49%. And I do think, Kepa's got the potential to get more, like save bonus. And then Ederson has just been an absolute nightmare, Jack. I mean, he just keeps conceding. With the first shot on target, even in the Champions League game against Real Madrid, it was the first shot on target they had. Frustrating, but at the moment I've got him starting. I'm trying not to let the kind of recency bias kind of get into my head. And then on the bench I've got Shaw, Robertson, and Greenwood. So, I think it's a fairly easy decision for me. If I had Trent though instead of Robbo, I think that would be a bit of a decision. I have seen a lot of people debating this on Twitter, whether it's that Trent over Estupinian, and that's a really close call because Trent in his new kind of hybrid midfield role has been absolutely fantastic. He's had since game week, since he's started playing in that position, he's had 6 assists, which is the highest in the league, and he's got the highest XA in the league as well. So he's absolutely a fantastic option in that position, and they've got Leicester, who are there for the taking as well, attack-wise. So, but then Estupinian has got a double, but the 2 doubles, are Arsenal away and Newcastle away.
Yeah.
And it doesn't get much tougher than that. So yes, it's a tough one. But, I guess I'm kind of lucky I've got Robbo, and it's kind of an easier decision for me.
Yeah, it's such a tough decision. I mean, for me personally, let's talk about the Fantasy Football Hub, my team tool here, because predicted points for Estupinian 4.7 across those 2 games, and for Trent we're looking at 5.5. So according to the tool, it's actually quite a simple decision, really. It's just whether you back. I don't know. Brighton it's about, you have to think about Brighton's form, and they do seem quite up and down. For me personally, that's why I mentioned myself and my history of fantasy, and I'm sure a lot of managers watching may have gone through this as well. I sold Trent before his huge haul, I don't know, a few years ago against Leicester. How many points did he get? 24 or something?
24, yeah.
Yeah, one of the worst fantasy days in my young fledgling career. So that's you have to take that into account. And he does have that haul potential in the way that Estupinian maybe doesn't, but he also may do across 2 fixtures, right? It's a tough one.
See, yes, I think because if you look at the 2 fixtures, right, you probably say that Brighton conceded in both fixtures.
Yeah.
But also you say Liverpool probably concede as well.
Yeah.
Leicester at home, although they've been terrible at the back, they have got a good attack, and they can score. They've got a decent attack. So in both the cases they'll concede goals. But then you got to look at the attacking threat, which is Trent has got a much higher attacking threat. But also Estupinian's got attacking threat as well. Not as much as Trent, but he is bombing down that wing. He's in the box a lot. He's always kind of on the wing. Getting crosses from here, from time to time. So I think he's got 7 assists this season. So he's got attacking threat as well, and it does feel kind of wrong. I mean, if I was in that position, it'd be really hard to bench Estupinian over, to bench a double game week player over a single game week player. It's just with the double, they've got 2 bites of the cherry, and with Trent, it's just the one. And again, as I said, because they're very likely to concede, you're going to be banking on attacking returns, and so I don't know. It's tough. I mean, if I was in that position, I would probably play. I'd probably be on Estupinian, but it would be a tough call.
So I think I'm going to go for Trent personally, but I think that is a little bit of like historical, hindsight. I don't know. Just even in that last game, he was getting in. I don't know how he didn't get an attacking return. He had a cross for Darwin that he somehow didn't really make contact with. Had a great shot that was well saved by Raya. Like, I don't know. Trent is just, he's just very he's a better footballer than Estupinian.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and therefore, he plays 2 games. Absolutely true.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's a lot closer than the hub tool suggests. Anyway.
Okay. Well, there we go then. That is your team. Benching the likes of Robertson and Shaw as well at home to Wolves. I mean, that's
I know. It's just one of those. It's a good week to play your benches if you had one. But it's just. I mean, you got to bench somebody. I can't see. I don't think. Playing Shaw with any of the double game week players is a good call. I mean, then I've got Bruno, Rashford, and Salah, who are like my other single game week players. So it's just process of elimination, and I am expecting a lot of points from the bench this week.
Okay then, I think, my friend, that's going to do it for this one. I feel like this is going to be, I don't know, give me your thoughts on this, but a very swingy week with potentially a lot of variance on that captaincy decision, because it's a double captain, isn't it? That's the tough thing about doubles, especially when a lot of us are going to be captaining the player that we transfer in, and we're only going to have one of those players. It's a big swing there. It's kind of the point of the game, isn't it? But it's going to be either amazing or pretty terrible, or who knows? Maybe luck will be on our side and they'll actually do okay. Who knows?
I think the 2 biggest swings are going to be the captaincy, like Isaac Wilson, and then it's going to be, I think, between Trent and Estupinan. I think that's going to be that's the potential big swing there as well. So yeah, hopefully I'm on the right side this week.
Absolutely. Me too. I hope so for myself. All right, guys, that is going to do it for this one. As always, if you do want to go and use the Fantasy Football Hub My Team tool that we've been showing throughout the entire video, the link to that is down below. A great tool, and you can see if you agree or disagree with the points predictions. Abdul, your team review will be up, I guess, very close to the deadline then as well. Final team, because of that potential for early team news. And with that being said, guys, thank you very much for watching, and we will see you next week with another Game Week preview.